Colleen presenting on the universal language. And no, it's not love.
Of all the languages on the planet, there's only one that speaks clearly to us all. Plants, animals, and people have been directly affected by the impact that music has on them, and it is my hope this evening to share with you a few of these opportunities and to invite you to consider music's impact in your own life. Now, we all know that it takes ears to hear music, and other than plants, the corn, such as corn, no other plant has ears, but studies have been done to test seed germination, and they have found that exposing plants and seeds to classical music actually enhances their germination rate. Exposing plants to heavy metal music actually detracts from their germination rate. In another study that was done, they exposed heavy metal music to plants continuously for 2 weeks in a row, and they found out that there was not much left of them at that point. And the reason for this has to do with the intensity of the vibrations, and the number of beats per second actually directly affects cell growth. Now, in the 1970s, a study was done on plants that exposed them heavily to classical music, particularly that of Bach and Mozart. And they found that this type of music actually produced much healthier plants where the stems leaned toward the source of the sound. The heavy metal music actually kind of looked kind of sickly and yellow. And then after a couple of weeks, there was nothing left of the plants at all. And I'm pretty sure after 2 weeks of Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin, I'd be somewhat affected as included. So Mozart's music has produced an excellent round of research for plants, and they have found that in terms of healthy plants, the leaves will grow stronger, stems are thicker, fruit matures more quickly, and they've actually in Italy at this point are using Mozart's music as ecological pest control in their vineyards. So since the 1970s, plants have been listening to all kinds of music, and it has proven that even if you were to sing to your plants in the garden, they will have a healthier look to them, and that they will grow by far more mature. And I just might add as a side note that country and Western music has absolutely no effect on plants. So if this is the effect that we have on plants, how much more so on camels or other animals in the animal world? In the Bronx Zoo in the early 1900s, a study was done where they played Highland music to camels, and they thought that was like the coolest music ever. However, the same music caused wolves and coyotes to run away in absolute fear and terror. Now, we know that elephants are incredibly sensitive to sound, and classical music is played for them routinely at the Belfast Zoo, where they then have a much more comfortable existence. They have less irritation, and they're by far more healthy. Elephants can communicate in deep infrasonic vibrations, and classical music is of great relief to them. Now, cows produce more milk and chickens produce more eggs. In conclusive studies, it is shown that chickens will increase their egg production significantly when listening to classical music. The heavy metal group also had increased production, but after a period of time, it dropped off entirely, and then the birds were agitated and irritated. And I know for 2 weeks of prolonged Metallica, I might be somewhat agitated and irritated as well. Pets are very sensitive to music. Cats prefer the quieter tones, and birds, which are very, very sensitive to sound, will actually dance if given the right kind of hip-hop music, or they will just fly away in absolute terror if the music is far too aggressive. And it's said that animals will actually have fewer vet visits if their musical environment is better. Dogs are very, very sensitive to their musical environment, and in kennels all across the United States and in Europe, they play Vivaldi's Four Seasons routinely into the kennels so the dogs can rest more and have a much nicer stay while they are there. There's actually studies that have been done that prove that dogs are almost as sensitive to human beings as human beings when it comes to their musical environment. So if that's how plants and animals respond to the musical world, how much more so for the human mind? It's ever mysterious and complex. Research has done much, but there's so much more that we can learn and study. But what we do know at this point is that it directly affects how we live and how we behave. Have you ever had one of those days where you just feel like you just can't cope? Work is so busy and you can't ever catch up, and it's just massively, massively frustrating and frazzling on your nerves. And because we are a society of production and accomplishment, and everything that we do drives us forward. And is this, at the end of the day, is this a good way to feel as though you are not holding it all together? So music can be a vital part of that. Oftentimes after we've gotten into our car to head home towards the end of the day, we crank on the tunes and we listen to something that has a loud and fast beat, and I'm not entirely sure that this is the best way in order to handle our lives and to have health and wholeness. And so they're actually saying that the study Studies have proved that the music of this fella is by far the one that we should be experimenting with. The music of J.S. Bach has proven, of that of the Baroque, has proven to be very relaxing for health and wholeness for our lives. His piece of music called The Air on the G String for the violin is proven to be the most relaxing piece of music ever composed. His music also reduces the cortisol level in your body, which is a stress chemical. So if rest and relaxation is what we're after as a human being and health and wholeness, then we need to seek out those kinds of music that will achieve that. So Baroque music has proven to heighten creativity among human beings, as well as it will provide the response for relaxation, which improves sleep. The medical community has definitely taken advantage of music on a therapy level. There are many studies that prove that the right kind of music can trigger childhood memory loss and aid in therapy of that, as well as addictions elimination, and as well as with reducing the effects of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Now, Albert Einstein was told when he was young by his teachers that he was too stupid to learn. His parents were told to promptly go get him whatever he needed to make sure that he could handle an easily manual, like the minimal manual labor job possible. His parents left that interview and promptly went and got him a violin. And he is attributing his incredible genius to his love of Mozart and Bach. As people, we are constantly absorbing what's going on in our environment. We learn and yearn for things that cause us to want to have peace and rest and wholeness and health in our life. And music can be a tremendous piece in that puzzle. So the language of music is very powerful indeed. It causes us to have relaxation, or it can cause us frustration. And as our society is moving us toward different things that are causing us greater intensity, we can make choices that can move us forward and have us work towards a life of health and wholeness. And so I invite you to stop and listen and relax and enjoy.